Is it like recording?
Yep.
Oh.
You're good.
All right. So I gotta think of something to say.
Whenever. I mean, I'll hold as long as you want. I don't give a
That's
shit.
perfect. Welcome to Destination Bourbon. Today I'm on my way to one of my absolute favorite locations with one of my all-time favorite people. So I hope you enjoy hanging out with me and seeing what it's like to meet and hang out with a local store owner. So here we are, Opperman's Cork and Ale. I'm gonna go in and meet Sean and talk to him about a few different bourbons and some. So here we are at Opperman's Cork and Ale. We're gonna go inside, talk to Sean, and see what he has for some bourbon for us today. So I want everybody to meet my buddy Sean Opperman, owner, proprietor, som extraordinaire from Opperman's Cork and Ale. Sean Opperman. He's going to show us around his store today, and we're going to look at some different bourbons and talk about some different things that you can do to create a relationship and develop your ability to find and get some allocated whiskey. So how many times you get the customer that comes in and is like, oh, hey, dude, man, you got some Blantons? You got any? I mean, what are the crazy, stupid questions that you get all the time?
Well, I don't know if I'd say stupid.
I would say stupid.
Fair enough. Yeah, probably we get like 15 phone calls a day probably for allocated stuff of one type or another, be it Blanton's, Weller. Those are probably the two that we hear the most of. Yeah, occasionally Pappy.
Yeah, Pappy, of course.
Yeah, which is interesting. Being a whiskey drinker, we know Pappy, we know probably not just a daily. I called the liquor store this Tuesday to see if they got any.
Right, you know what, they just showed up on, you know what, actually, buddy, you're in luck. I just got Pappy 23. I mean, if you hurry up, get down here, you can get it. Oh. So what is the best way for somebody to be able to get their hands on, not a Pappy, but a Blanton's or a Weller or any of the allocated stuff that's coming out now? How does somebody develop a relationship with a store owner?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, you got to have some kind of rapport. So either you have a rapport with a store owner, or almost guaranteed you're going to pay secondary. I mean, there's kind of no middle ground there. So, yep. I mean, if it were me, I'd just start buying your regular whiskeys at that store. You know, I mean, when you go to get your regular old bottle of, like, say, Buffalo Trace or Old Forester 86, or just that daily drinker you rely on, just use that to build a rapport with maybe a liquor store owner or two in your area.
Actually, the best thing that we've done locally is develop a relationship with Sean. Our whiskey group that we have locally has basically stemmed from people that have been coming in and out of Opperman's Cork and Ale. So we've developed relationships with Sean, and then all the other people that have come in and out, like-minded people like to hang out together. So we hang out with cool people. Actually, you founded the Tri-City Whiskey Group, so.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, when you're talking to that store owner, also probably every other person in your town that's into whiskey has talked to that store owner at some point. So it's a great kind of pivot point to make connections there, and they might know other people in your area that like similar whiskeys. And you know, you could always say, hey, if you ever want to give my information to somebody, if they ever want to hang out, try some new stuff. Because I mean, I don't own every allocated bottle on the face of the earth, but you know, I could try them because I know enough people that also collect that it's a really nice way to kind of expand your horizons and get to go out there and try some fun stuff that you don't want to pay for it all, you know.
Right, absolutely. Now, one thing I like to do when I'm out of town, so it's one thing when you're trying to develop a store or a relationship with a store owner in your own town, but when I'm out of town, I go into a store and the first thing I do is I find a bottle that they have on the shelf that I don't mind drinking for that week. So I'll go, when I travel for work, I'll go buy a bottle on, let's say, Monday night, and then I'll try to talk with her, find out who the owner is or a manager of that establishment. And then the next night I'll come back and I'll talk some more and find out if they got anything else that I might want. By the third night that I'm there, generally they're like, oh, you're back again. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm from Michigan. I don't really get any of this cool stuff in Michigan. Do you have anything, or is there anything around here that maybe is unique to your area? I found from traveling that there's a lot of bottles that go to different areas that I may not have. Is there something that you guys get quite regularly that people ask for? That's when the relationship starts to develop and people start bringing out bottles and give me some pretty cool stuff. Now, when it comes to value, I look, as we're sitting here talking, I look over and I see the Buffalo Trace shooter sitting here. when it comes to value, you turned me onto this. Like,
Yeah, so for the longest time, Buffalo Trace and even Old Forester 86 shooters still are $1 a piece. So if you get 15 of those, you get a fifth worth of whiskey. So there was a period, they're kind of allocated now, a little tougher to get, but there was a period where you could get a $15 fifth Buffalo Trace or Old Forester 86, which is a killer deal.
how many times you get somebody to come into your establishment and be like, hey, my buddy drinks bourbon barrel aged beer or whatever and wants to get into whiskey. What do you recommend? I mean, I'm assuming you probably get that quite a bit.
Yeah, a decent amount. Yeah, people go, stop smiling, motherfucker. So yeah, anyway, if it were me, if you were looking to make a transition to beer to whiskey, I would probably go something a little lighter on the proof. Because a lot of people, if they get a start in barrel proof, it's probably not going to be a great start. So you want to make sure that proof's somewhere around probably 85, 90, just to be a gentle introduction to whiskey. And that's something you can kind of pick up on.
So like a great starter bottle for somebody might be like an Elijah Craig or an Old Forester 86.
Yeah, absolutely be perfect bottles. You got a little bit of flavor to work with. It's a palatable proof that's not going to just blow you off the charts, and you're going to pick up that little bit of flavor that's there and be able to discern it and start to get into that.
So another way that you can really get in good with store owners is when you ask them about store picks. And whenever you're asking about store picks, that's a good idea to start a relationship and work that out with the store owner. And the best thing to do when you're asking about store picks, ask them if they got a sample. Most stores out there will have sample bottles behind the counter. In this case, Sean's got the Opperman single barrel rye. It's a hazmat bottle, amazing. So we're gonna sample that, and Sean's sampling some of his own Woodford Reserve. The turd bottle.
I have to fucking...
Turd bottle number 59.
Turd bottle number 59. Now Woodford has a double oaked. Sean has the rare double corked. So here's another idea. So you saw the Kentucky Owl batch 2 that we found. One other way to really generate some rapport with your store owner is to crack it open, America, and share your spoils with the store owner. So the way that you're going to get in good, develop that relationship in a nice healthy pour, and share that with the store owner that gave you the good deal on it. Cheers, my brother. That's all about the bourbon and the destination of getting there. Cheers.
I like it.